So, my name is Jarek Fry. I'm 38 years old. I'm a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, and a man of faith. And I wasn't always that way. Today, I wanted to give you an idea of what Memorial Day means to a veteran. Because it's not about barbecues and hanging out with your friends, even though we are here to celebrate and remember people. But I just want to let you know what it means to a veteran. So, from 2005 to 2014, I spent 9 years in the Marine Corps Infantry. During that time, I spent 4 deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. While my first couple of deployments were pretty light to Iraq, I caught the end of the years there, like 2007, 2008. When I went to Afghanistan, it's exactly what I was looking for, but I didn't understand. So in 2011, I volunteered to go as a combat replacement to Afghanistan. And it's because I had a casualty report come through my email that this unit had lost 3 of their squad leaders, their platoon sergeant, and a company commander in a 3-day period. As soon as I saw this, I knew that these guys were struggling, and I questioned who was leading these Marines. So at this point, a favor. So in 2010, I was doing funerals for the unit that I was with because they were in the same place in Afghanistan. And I got injured prior to that deployment. So the only way that I could serve these Marines that I found was taking them back home. During this time, I took 6 Marines back home to their family. This was probably about the darkest time in my life. Seeing their family members, their fathers, their friends, and just trying to honor them the best that I could. This left some serious hole or lacking in my life. And so when I had the opportunity, I saw these Marines were injured and they were lacking leadership. I went to a sergeant major that I served the funeral with, who said that if I ever needed anything, that he would help me. So I went and saw Sergeant Major, and I said, "Hey, Sergeant Major, I'm ready to go. I know these guys need help." And he said, "Are your affairs in order?" And I said, "Of course, Sergeant Major." He said, "All right, you leave this week." So 5 days later, I was staying in Afghanistan. Well, a little backstory on Sangin, if you don't know it, it was one of the worst battles that we faced in Afghanistan for the Marines. The unit before us had over 100 amputees and 200 wounded, I think 26 KIAs. So this was a place of real fighting. And that's where I was heading by my request. So I get there and, I run across these guys and they are in trouble, man. Every single person in the platoon at that point almost had a Purple Heart. And they'd been together for about 1 year to 2 years prior to this deployment building up, and they didn't know me. So I came in there and just tried to develop relationships and friendships, and I did quickly. So we went through our deployment. We had some, a couple casualties. Our corpsman actually, he lost his foot on that deployment, and different other people from our platoon got injured, hurt, and some killed. Well, on September 15th, 2011, is a day that changed my life forever. So September 15th, we were about 20 days out from deployment ending, and we were going out on a normal patrol in the morning, and everything was normal. We did our brief, everything was good. Well, we needed a sweeper that day to lead the patrol, and this was somebody that would metal detect in front of everybody else and ensure our safety so that we could travel and do our job. Our normal sweeper that we had, he's an engineer, he wasn't on that patrol that day because he's been getting overworked because we had lost other ones. So Corporal Dutcher stepped up joyfully, like he always was, and took lead on that. On that day, we were heading out. It was probably about 8 a.m. and we went through the water, went through a canal, came up on the other side, and we decided to follow some locals through an area behind a building, because they would lead us and guide us sometimes. So we stepped behind this patrol, and I was about the 12th man back in the patrol that day because we had some Afghanis with us. And as soon as they went out of sight, I heard it initially, and it rumbled. And then when I looked in that direction, I just saw a giant smoke cloud. Well, all I knew is that was my Marine, and he was in danger. So I ran towards the smoke. When I went around the wall, and it was completely smoked out, I couldn't see anything. There were 2 Marines that I didn't have accountability for at that time, Corporal Michael Dutcher and Mendoza. And Mendoza was our lead team leader, and he used to walk directly behind the sweeper to protect him. Well, I couldn't see it all. I just heard Mendoza yelling, and I didn't hear Dutcher. And so I ran through the smoke, hoping that I didn't step on an explosive device myself, to get to him. As I got there, Michael Dutcher had been hit. He was bleeding severely from his pelvis and from multiple other parts on him, and Mendoza was automatically working on him, trying to stop the bleeding. As soon as I saw the injuries, because of my background and training in medical, I knew that Dutch was gone. He had an arterial bleed in his pelvis, and you just can't really do anything about that. So we immediately called in for a casevac, secured the area, and started looking for the people around us to ambush us, and provided medical attention. And the only thing that I could do was hold Dutch's hand, and he asked for a picture of his mom that was in his vest. And so we gave him a picture in his other hand, and I held his hand, and I looked in his eyes, and I just told him that you're going home, man. Like, you're going home, you're good. And the reality of it was just the scenario that we played out over and over and over again. But this was my first Marine that I was in charge of that was hit like this, and that I knew the consequences of it. And so when he got on the bird, we got him on the bird. He was still alive. He was still awake, but like, I knew what was happening. So as we were sitting there, securing our LZ, the bird left, and about 10 minutes later, I saw, we got a call over the radio, and they said that we had a hero. And hero was our brevity code for we lost a Marine. So on September 15th, 2011, Michael Dutcher gave his life for myself and my Marines and everybody in this country to be here. And he did it joyfully, because he was serving his brothers and serving his country. He did it with no malice in his heart. He always respected and loved the Afghani people and the people that we served. You know, he always said that we can't lose our humanity even though we're in war. And you know, it didn't really hit me until I got back to base and Dutch didn't return. And the next day we did a Memorial service for him, where our Sergeant Major and everybody came. But the reality was, Sergeant Major said, "Hey, today's your day to mourn, but you need to get back to work tomorrow." Because we had to work. That's what we do. If we didn't work the next day, if we didn't continue to work, somebody else would lose their life. So we did. We went back to work and just buried it down inside, because that's what you have to do. have to keep pushing forward. So push forward. We didn't really have any other injuries or any issues the rest of the deployment. It was only 20 days. We got out of there. We went back to base, transitioning out, and like the reality that Dutch wasn't coming home was still there, but like the excitement of going home and everything else that was happening, like you just don't really deal with it. And so I came back from that deployment, transitioned to another job, and then 3 years later I got out of the Marine Corps. And I found myself after the Marine Corps just struggling, and I didn't know why. It led me to all kinds of life changes. At a certain point, I was basically living out of my truck, drinking a bottle a day, and I didn't know why. Couldn't find a job, got a lot of thank yous for your service, but that was about it. So it took me about 3 years after getting out when I started cutting hair, and I started talking to other veterans and other people about my situation to try to help them, that my mind started switching. And because of my conversations and trying to help others and trying to serve others with my story, it started to become a little easier, and I started dealing with my problems. I got into fitness, which changed my mind, which changed my health, which kind of started to escalate these things. So within a year of really getting into fitness and stopping alcohol and stopping these things and really trying to focus and serve other people, I stopped worrying so much about myself, and I started being able to heal and progress and get past it. After that, I met my wife, and she led me to church. And I didn't really buy in to Jesus or the relationship or anything like that. I didn't have that, but the morals and the people there were good, and I could get behind that. And I understood these things about being progressive and being successful in the pushing, because I had started a barbershop and I had started an organization and I had started these other things, but I didn't understand a relationship with God. But I understood good morals and all of these understandings. So I just kept going, and I was reading the Bible and going to church for years and years and years, and my life was getting a little better and a little better and a little better. And my family started to grow, and my relationships started to grow, and my life got better and better because of it. And the more and more that I served and talked to other people about this trauma and about this issue that I went through, just because I wanted to help them, forced me to just get better and better and better each and every day, and come out on the other side and start realizing that Dutcher gave his life for me to be here. So any time that I wanted to quit or lay down or not do it anymore, I didn't have an excuse not to, because Dutch sacrificed himself for me to be here. It was a personal sacrifice. So about a year ago, almost exactly, I was sitting in Grace Life, sitting in church, and my nonprofit had been going for a couple years, and we had been just teetering and struggling, and we're doing well and we're helping people across the country, but like, man, there's 9 million post 9/11 war veterans out there that needed help. So I'm like, why can't we just get better? Like, why can't we break this threshold? Why can't I break this ceiling? And I was trying my hardest to do this. And in this time, I just couldn't figure it out, and I was about to quit, and I was about to give up, because it just wasn't growing and it was taking a lot of my time. And I was sitting in church on a Sunday, and God had said to me, well, you don't have Jesus in your nonprofit. And I didn't know what that meant. Like, I didn't know what that meant, but I got in my car and I started speaking that to my wife, and she questioned me. She was like, well, what does that mean? I was like, I don't know, but we're going to have Jesus in the nonprofit. I'm going to start saying it till we figure it out. I started speaking it to my board, and things started changing immediately with it. Doors started opening almost automatically, and about 2 weeks later, it just became so transparent to me that I understood now that Jesus needed to be in everything. He needed to be involved in everything, but I didn't have a personal relationship with him in my life. I didn't think that that was a real thing. I didn't have that understanding. And God, being how he is and knowing each and every one of us and all the details of us, he got to me through what my heart was in. It was my nonprofit. It was serving others. It was with veterans. And so he taught me through the Veteran Bushudo that I needed him, a personal relationship with him in my life. And I immediately got baptized after that, and things just opened up and things got easier. The burdens, the anxiety, the yoke that I used to carry that was so heavy each and every day just got lighter. Things got easier. Things started happening. My nonprofit with that year, our biggest year prior to that was like $8,500. So in a 3-month period, we went from $8,500 being our biggest year to having a $65,000 year. And it was easier. And it was not due to my effort. It was due to letting go of my ego and moving past that. Now things in my life are just growing. I have businesses, my family, my relationship with my children is just better. My relationship with my wife and understanding, yes, things still get hard. Things are hard. Business is hard. I grind and I love it. I love grinding. But it's not so hard anymore, and I'm not so stressed because it's not on me. God gave me the capacity and the capability of doing all of these things that I'm doing, and because of that, I'm able to have more and more and just live an abundant life because he wants that for me. He wants that for my family.